Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So things are heating up, and not just in my video game, but on Dr. Stone. For some reason, I was gonna say Fire Force again because there's fire in the stop. I truly love where we're going with this overall arc of science versus like Neanderthals or just brutes. With what we get from our overall consensus of where this is going to go, it looks like the only way to truly do anything to these guys that are heavily great at martial arts and stuff like that, and unlike unlike what's his face, the guy who was a problem and saying everything was like sorcery and stuff, unlike him, I don't feel so much as a threat, like, or not a threat, but I feel like he is going to be easily able to not be thrown off like everybody else. Like people from the time period we actually come from, and they were just stone and they were unthawed from stone, not just naturally born into this world and been living in it and dealing with it. Um, they all still have their knowledge. They still all have, information that they had since whenever they were turned into stone. So instead of having people that actually don't know anything about the world, they have their army seemingly comprised of people who do know. And if it's not, we should be, I hope we get some type of story of if he captured or ran into other people, because I would doubt that more people made it, right? Like more people other than the ones that our main character's father took care of. So that's the thing that kind of drove me up a wall when it came down to, if you look, actually no, it makes sense because everybody that we see on the Brutes team does have the resemblance of the stone marking, like going down their faces and stuff like that. So it's another indicator that they were taken out of the stone, and it only makes sense because we see on both sides, there's stones figures everywhere. Like they left their kingdom to come here and do this attack and all this stuff. They left pretty far. So to think that there's statues everywhere, um, it just goes to show you how much he probably had on his side and what he's already been capable of doing with that time and stuff like that. So now, after being attacked and having the village straight up decimated, it's clear to me that our kingdom of science isn't not only like reacting to this attack in the case of like, oh, they destroyed our village, we need revenge, we need to stop all this from happening again to us, like something like that. It looks more or less to be um, just them kind of getting this fear into them, right? Like they don't want them to think that, oh my God, we went to the kingdom of science. No one got hurt really, or no, they did. They lost. They actually took out their own teammates, which was pretty jacked up. I thought that was another case of just something we needed to see as a whole with their society, with their leaders, with their thought process of how things should be done. They literally just were like, oh, why was Psyche wearing, like why is he wearing that mask, and if it is a mask, like a gas mask, is it even helping him? And then how you find out if the gas mask was helping him? You just test it with some of your troops, throw them out there, they'll test it out for you. Yeah, pretty messed up. Not only did he find out that those masks were real, he found out that he he knows about what you could get from sulfur. So that's the scary thing about all the people who actually lived back in 3,700 years, 300, yeah, 3,700 years. They have collective information that they all would stay in their heads. So that could either become a good thing or a bad thing, and it became a bad thing really quickly for these guys because they knew what it was, but they can't be as prepared as they would want to, living in the way that they are. So this is why I kind of love this whole debacle or this whole decision making in this show is because the brutes have a right to want to live the way that they do. You know, we got a conveying story that it was only because of old rich people that, you know, the world went to trash. It wasn't because those same old rich people were good people at the beginning and they, you know, changed over time into those, you know, greedy people. They just were always like that. They were born like that, just like their fathers and blah, 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 right? Well, now that he has all this power, now that he is pretty much this rich person of this stone world, and when I mean rich, the only thing you can be rich in this world is power and with personnel, people that will bark at your every order, you know, like with that, you are rich. And so now he is being literally a fool almost and trying to you know, dictate all and everything that happens. So not only is he literally stating what those people did, he's now doing it himself when there are no riches in this world besides life and being able to, you know, be alive with your friends and family and stuff like that. That's the richest thing you can have. And the one thing he wants to do to make sure this world stays the way it is to kill and to take that rich life, which he said he'll stay in as many as he'll go through and stay in his hand as much as possible to keep it the way that he sees it. So it's a very, very compelling way of giving us both sides of the story. Oh, you got Bob Tonzo. But because this is not like a smart tactic, because this is not a intelligent way of going about this, we're definitely going to see something blow up in his face, and that's what I look forward to the most. Because, like I was saying, at least with science, you can save people from diseases that we know we can save them from. If anyone got sick in that other village, just say, for instance, that wind pours over to them and it's carrying that sulfur, what, you know what I mean? Like, they would have just had to naturally take their losses, right? Like, oh man, that was a sad, sad day. But with science, they're capable of saving some people that would have literally been gone in an instant. So now you're looking at what side is actually doing right compared to which side is doing wrong. And the side that's doing wrong is having all this information, all this intelligence, and then you don't want to apply it because of something your own mind has created, your own, you know, experience has pretty much force you to create. So now it's ideal versus ideal, and we're gonna see the kingdom of science either launch an attack and be successful, because supposedly they're trying to make cellular phones already. I like how they call it cellular phones. I mean, that is the full real name, and us people dropped it to cell, which, God, that sounds so much better. But overall, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. We're definitely in for a treat with this week's episode, or next week's episode, and I can't wait to see what you guys are talking about this week. So with all that being said, let me know what you guys are feeling down below in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one. So with that, peace.